Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here, and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today, guys, we're going to be continuing our AFL 2023 three-game match reviews of the 2023 AFL season. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the first three games from round 9 of those games: Richmond vs Geelong, West Coast vs Gold Coast, and Sydney vs Fremantle. Alright, so the first game of this three-game match review is Richmond vs Geelong at the MCG. An early starting Friday night game because there were two Friday night games, so I'll get to the later one a little bit later on. Anyway, though, for the first game, Richmond won this game by 24-16, 602 to 11-12, 78. And in the end, inaccuracy probably proving to get the better of the Cats in this game after a 2-7 first term and 11 behinds the half-time, 5 goals, 11. Only kicked one behind in the second half, 6 goals the Cats did kick, but it was the Tigers that cruised off to a 6-goal first term to really put the foot down on the accelerator. Second term slowed up a little bit, where the Cats got a bit more momentum back, and in the third term, that's where the Tigers did take it to another level. They started to get out to a bit of a lead in the last quarter, despite a Cats little comeback late. It was, again, not enough, and the Tigers held on for a nice 24-point victory, which does get their season back on track and where they'd like it to be. 129 fantasy for Taranto, 114 for Martin, 113 for Short, 109 for Duncan, 102 for Rioli. Dustin Martin, a typical Dustin Martin game. 4 goals, 1, 19 disposals, 9 marks, 3 tackles. He was just an absolute beast. 4 goals for Martin, as we know, 3 for Hawkins, Cochrane, 2 goals for Revolt, Mansell, Henry, and Jeremy Cameron was only restricted to the 1 goal, and I believe he didn't have a goal up to about three-quarter time or something like that. So they managed to keep him quiet. 28 disposals for Taranto, 26 for Short, 25 for Duncan. Marks now 11 for Stewart, 10 for Duncan. Tackles, 12 for Taranto, 6 for Atkins. Hitouts, 33 for Seglet, 29 for Ryan, 9 for Miller, 5 for Hawkins and Blitzarves. Team stats now, where it was a very interesting game around the stats for sure. 56-57 inside 50, just +1 in favour of Geelong. Clearances, 32-47 in favour of the Cats, 11-15 out of the centre, 21-32 stoppage. Again, both in favour of Geelong. Richmond took more marks, 103-94, but more marks inside 50, 13-15 for the Cats. Richmond did lead for most of this game. They did lay more tackles as well, 62-46. But yeah, Richmond did lead for most of this contest. And yeah, it was definitely after that first term where they really started to get out and off to a flying start, the Tigers. That's really what they built the game off of. And a couple of weeks ago versus Melbourne, they did lose in a very similar position to this. But this week they managed to hang on, and their season is slowly getting back on track. They've got an interesting draw coming up in the next couple of weeks, including Essendon and the Power. So yeah, those are some really big games for the Tigers. But yes, they get a massive win here over the Cats. Now to the second Friday night contest in the West between West Coast and Gold Coast. Now, the reason why there's a second Friday night game is because it's Mother's Day round and it takes one game off the Sunday and adds it on to the Friday night. And the AFL has announced it's going to be a permanent part of the fixture for at least the next few years. And yeah, West Coast versus Gold Coast, probably the more unappealing match of the two. And yeah, we kind of got what we thought. Gold Coast 16-17, 113, smashed West Coast 6-7, 43 by 70 points in the end. It was a big win there for Gold Coast, their biggest win away from home ever in their history. In their history in the AFL, and it was built off a great second quarter. First quarter was even. The only thing which really split the two sides, I thought, was ball movement, where the Suns had it way better than West Coast. West Coast was scrapping it forward. Gold Coast had a bit more method to it. And then in the second quarter, their method paid off. They kicked 8 goals, to 1, and the game's pretty much over by half-time. Third quarter, West Coast kicked 2 goals very quickly, 2 goals in about a minute of each other, but from there on, no goals for the rest of the quarter. That was Gold Coast goalless term, and then the final quarter, 6 goals to 1 seals the deal. 5 goals to 1, read that one wrong. 142 fantasy for Rao, 113 for Duggan, 106 for Witherden, 101 for Kelly. Goals behind, 4 goals for King, who was the king of the show. 2 goals for Chol, Lukosius, Allen, Swallow, and James Titus, I believe. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but I'm not the best with pronunciation. 32 disposal for Duggan, 29 for Rao, 27 for Anderson, 26 for Witherden and Kelly. Marks, 11 for Ballard, 8 for Barras and Atkins, 17 tackles for Rao, 16 for Jimby, who both racked up mammoth numbers with the tackles. Both absolutely tackling their hearts out on the night. 9 for Swallow, 8 for O'Neill. Hitouts, 48 for Witts, 32 for Williams, 4 for Jamieson, 3 for Darling, 2 for Troll, 2 for Day. and 1 for Allen. Team stats now, where it's a domination inside 50s, 31-63 plus 32 in favour of Gold Coast. And, I mean, when you're going inside 50 only 31 times for the game, no wonder why you are going to put up a score of about 43 anyway. Clearances 30-41, 8-10 centre, 22-31 stoppage, all in favour of Gold Coast, 116-150 contested possessions in favour of the Suns as well. 75-91 marks, 7-15 marks inside 50, and 8-19 contested marks, all in favour of Gold Coast. Gold Coast did lead this game for most of it. West Coast led the game for 1 minute and 4. Gold Coast led the game for pretty much the whole contest. Despite West Coast laying more tackles, 83-67, the Suns laid more tackles inside 50, but in the end, it was an absolute domination. The Suns by 70. Another upset in this 3-game match reviews. Richmond did it against the Cats, and now the Dockers have done it against the Swans of the SCG. This was the first game today on the Saturday, and it was Sydney 13-86, Fremantle 16-7, 103. The Dockers won by 17 in the end. Despite a good first quarter from Sydney, it was the second quarter where the Dockers did get off and running, a 6-2 term, put them in front by 13 at the main change in the third quarter. That's where they continue on their dominance and arguably win the game there. They were very impressive and had a nice 3-goal, or about roughly 3-goal lead into the final term. And then, despite the Swans looking like they could come back and steal it from them, it's the Dockers that kick 1, 2, 3 in a row to seal the deal, get it back out to that 30-point mark. And then the Swans kick a few late to take a little bit of percentage away from the Dockers. But look, great win here from the Dockers away from home against the Swans of the SCG. The Swans in the past couple of weeks versus Port Adelaide, the Giants, and the Dockers have lost to the touring, or to the visitors, should I say. And they have been lacking some players down the defence line. But, yeah, it feels like the game, from looking at some stats, was one out of the midfield for them. And one of the only really good Warriors in that Sydney midfield today was Errol Goulden. Chad Warner also played a good game, but Errol Goulden, 153 fantasy, 2 goals, 39 disposals, 6 marks, 5 tackles. He did it all, and what a player he is. 115 fantasy for Darcy, 113 for Sarong, 108 for Young, 105 for Brayshaw, 104 for Warner, 103 for Luke Action Jackson, 102 for O'Meara. And Luke Jackson did live up to his name. 3 goals today. He is finally starting to come alive for Fremantle. It's taken him a little while, but yeah, a couple of good performances under his belt is definitely what he needed. 4 goals for Schultz, 3 for Jackson, 2 for Papley and Goulden, as well as Amos, Heaney, Tracy, Frederick. Disposals, 39 for Goulden, 33 for Sarong, 31 for Brayshaw. Marks now 10 for Ryan, 8 for Lloyd and Francis. Tackles 8 for O'Meara, 7 for Warner. Hitouts 44 for Darcy, 21 for Hickey, 11 for Jackson, 8 for McLean. Team stats now 44-61 inside 50s in favour of Fremantle, plus 17 there. And the Swans, surprising to see a good side like this only go inside 50 44 times. And that is it for the entire contest. Let's see. Wow. This is what I just said. I knew they won it out of the middle. They're the Dockers, but I didn't know they did this much. 29-55 hit-outs. 36-49 clearances, 9-20 centre clearances. That's just a big performance there from the Fremantle Dockers. That is insane. 9-20. Their midfield is starting to get firing this year. 27-29 stoppage clearances. Let's see, 90-94 marks, 6-12 marks inside 50, 11-16 contested marks. The Dockers did lead this game for 3/4 of it. 9-19 tackles inside 50, but yes, big win here for Fremantle. A big upset. And after a slow start to their year, they definitely needed this win. So to a couple of other results, Port Adelaide defeated North Melbourne by 70 earlier today as well. And that will be in tomorrow's 3-game match review. So please do make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, so then you do not miss that. Melbourne versus Hawthorn will also be in that one at the moment. Second quarter is just about done, but it's 9-47 at the moment. The D's smashing Hawthorn by 38 points. And that'll be in tomorrow's 3-game match reviews, as well as Brisbane and Essendon. And then the final 3-game match reviews will be Carlton versus Western Bulldogs, Adelaide versus St Kilda, and Collingwood versus the Giants, which, yeah, Carlton Dogs is a big game, and Crows Saints should also shape up as a good one. And then, yeah, Collingwood Giants will end off the round. So, yeah, we'll go to the ladder now, see how things are shaping up, which, yeah, have a look at this ladder at the moment. Collingwood are on top still after Port Adelaide's win, which we'll be diving into that one a little bit more in tomorrow's 3-game match reviews, puts them into second. If Melbourne do beat Hawthorn, which they should be able to comfortably, they'll go top momentarily. Hawthorn will be sent straight to the bottom. But going down ladder, The Cats didn't quite get the win, so they're still in 6th at the moment, awaiting the Dogs and the Blues game, which is quite a big one for most of these outsiders at the moment. The Dockers, they go up into 12th. They get a much-needed win, and their finals contention could be back. Same with the Tigers, who are in 13th. The Swans, cellar dwellers at the moment. They're in 14th, and interesting, their year hasn't quite gone to plan at the moment. Their next few weeks are big games, and the Giants below them, North, Hawthorn, West Coast, but should Hawthorn lose by a big enough margin, they'll go bottom. Anyway, though, thank you guys. It was so nice watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Send you guys an another video on the channel. Thank you guys. It was so much. Bye, everyone. Flame Footy out.